Welcome to Meet the Voter, episode 193. I'm going to start again. Welcome to Timelines, episode 193 production. Tonight is Meet the Voter at meetthevoter.com. It's Sunday night. For tonight's podcast, we have moderators Bill Conrad, myself. I'm like having a hard time. For tonight's netcast, two moderators are myself, Bill Conrad from Reno, Nevada, and Jonathan Denwood. Jonathan's going to come on the second half, but before we let him go, we want to hear his forecast for the primary tomorrow. Jonathan, what are your forecasts?
I think Mr. Trump's going to win it.
Okay, you got Trump on one side, and how about on the Democrats?
I think Bernie Sanders is going to win it.
Okay, Jonathan, you're going to come back in at the end of the show, and you're going to take the YouTube section the next hour. Have anything else? Good words? Any thoughts, ideas? What's going on right now with this crazy election?
Well, I don't think it's that crazy, is it? I think it's a consequence. Economic turmoil tends to end up with political turmoil, doesn't it?
Yep. Anyway, it's going to be strange. It's the strangest election I've ever seen, and I'll have my forecast later on. Anyway.
Yeah, I think the great Duce is unstoppable.
With that, I'm going to let you go, and we're going to bring back the panel.
Oh, cool.
Okay. Welcome to Meet the Voter, episode 16. Welcome to Meet the Voter, episode 193 of Timelines and episode 16 of Meet the Voter. So here we are. It's a Sunday night, so we're at Meet the Voter, and we all watch Meet the Press. And we know tomorrow is the primary in Ohio, and a lot of things are happening. So we're doing a little different today. Right now, we have two members on right now for the panel. We've got Dr. Nicholas Hernandez, resident artist and progressive Democrat from Laguna Beach. And we have Heather Ann Havenwood, conservative Republican and publisher and founder of Sexy Boss. And she's coming to us from Austin, Texas. So I got through that. It's kind of a crazy day between the dogs, the snow, and people coming in from New York. So really a crazy time right now in the start. So, and a bad link. So we're up on Blab, but we're going to turn this into a podcast and we'll go to a normal Blab after about the first 25 minutes. So what do you guys think? Meet the Press, all the news out right now. What's your first impression? What's going on with these elections? You want to start, Heather?
Sure. No problem. Wow. God, it's a lot. I was telling Nick earlier, I kind of feel like I'm addicted to politics. There's just so much, but I definitely watched Meet the Press today. I watched Outnumbered. I watched a lot of different Fox News, but I also watched different things on MSNBC. I kind of looked around, like what are the different views? It's just been really interesting to see all the different views of Hillary, Bernie, the Republican side, a lot of Trump talk. There's a lot of talk about how what he did on Thursday, not showing up, was it's a good move. There was a lot of talk about Cruz didn't have a good night, but Rubio did. It's been this interesting thing. And the one thing I took away from this week, and I actually heard it on Rush Limbaugh today, is, we can agree with it or not, but it is an interesting view. He said, we as Americans love a cage match. And this is becoming kind of like a cage match, and Donald Trump is helping that become a cage match. And I kind of laughed and said, yeah, it's like the housewives of the Washington, the husbands of the Washington press or something. It's kind of this funny thing going on. But the big news about Hillary Clinton and her emails, and more news about that. I honestly feel my prediction so far is going to be, I feel that Hillary's still going to take the ticket in Iowa. And I do feel Iowa is going to be Trump. I think it's really going to kind of cross the board. I think it's going to surprise people, actually, that Trump takes over Iowa. That's my view. But there's just so much to talk about. Nick, go ahead. What do you think?
Well, I think it's going to be Bernie with a landslide. I think that people, all the polls, Hillary has not used the social media like Bernie has. Bernie has used social media as his main form of communication, and Hillary has mostly used the mainstream, the papers and the TV and that stuff. And so many of the polls are not reflecting the millennials. And when you look at Bernie having 3 million donations, over 3 million, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And when the average donation is $27, what's great about that is that he hasn't tapped out, like a lot of the big donors have given what they can. They're not going to give that much more. But all these 3 million, can do it, can give another $27. So Bernie hasn't even begun to tap into his resources yet. And if he gets, even if Hillary were to eke ahead, that's a huge victory for Bernie. But I still think, because there's 1,000 people waiting in the snow for Bernie right now, and nobody else, not Trump, not Cruz, nobody's getting crowds like that. And that's the truth. And he's been getting 2 and 3 times the crowds of Hillary, which is why I think Hillary is going to go. Now, on the Republican side, boy, it is a mystery to me. I can't venture a guess.
Nick, Trump is so far ahead in the polls right now. When the polls were so far ahead in all the different polls that have come out, Trump is going to win probably 34, 35%, maybe as low between, I'd say between 28 and 37, he'll get 35.
I think it's going to surprise people, and I think it's going to surprise everything. I just really feel it's going to come out to be Trump, especially in Iowa.
Yeah,
and now I'm not going to be completely surprised if it's not Trump.
I won't be surprised.
But I will. New Hampshire, I think he's going to take over. Nevada, 100%. South Carolina, maybe 80%. The one thing I will say that has come out of Ted Cruz is actually, believe it or not, for the first time, I've been listening to what he's saying and his policy and things like that. And the problem I have with Cruz is that he's so conservative, which I like personally. I don't think that he'll be able to do anything in Washington. So I think that's one of the issues that people have. The one thing I'll say about the Bernie and Hillary thing that I heard, I'm sitting here not saying I'm an expert. Something I heard, Nick, and maybe you can point to it, is that yes, Bernie has the numbers. However, now I don't know how they do this, but based on the current people that are registered to vote, those are more Hillary than Bernie. So the question is, will they be able to bring in new voter registrations so that they're actually going to vote versus the current people that are registered? Now, again, I'm not an expert in that, but that's what I understood is why they're saying Hillary might win based on the current registered voters.
Well, today, still, I was just before the show tonight, I was looking at the various news channels, and they're all doing exactly the same thing, even though they're virtually locked in a tie, according to some polls. And I've seen polls that have Bernie 20 points ahead in Iowa. Now, but they're still saying, oh, Hillary is going to have to face either Trump or Cruz, or they're assuming, because they're scared of Bernie. All these news channels are owned by conservative corporations, and they are scared to death of Bernie. And, they're still dismissing Bernie. And I think that's going to be a huge, huge mistake. Bernie has that, the likable, the people that like him, and on both sides, he's higher than any candidate by double the people that say they approve and like Bernie. And then nobody can predict what the millennials are going to do. And it was the millennials that got Barack in. And I think, I would really love to have a female president, just not Hillary.
I'm with you on that completely. I agree with you on that. I think this is going to be kind of an interesting standpoint of those millennials coming out. I believe it personally. I think it's fascinating that a 74-year-old man is pulling the millennials out. I find that on a psychological level, social level, fascinating. I really find that fascinating. I never thought in a Jewish 74-year-old man, like, you know what I mean? Like, there's some definitely psychology things. I'm like, wow, that's fascinating. But I do think you're right, Nick. I think it's going to be, the polls aren't really taking those millennials into consideration because they're millennials. They're younger. They might have never even voted before. You know, they might not have voted back when Barack Obama 4 years ago or 8 years ago. So this is their first time.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that's not taking into consideration the polls. I agree with you.
Yeah, when I've been to I've been to like 4 Bernie events, and I remember going to Barack Obama events, and it's ramped up even hotter. And these kids, 18 to 26, 27, they are covering themselves with Bernie signs and jumping up and down and just on fire. I've never seen anything like it. I personally think that this particular election is even more important than the Obama elections. I think we're in some real.
I agree. I think this is one of the most important, I think, in my lifetime that has been out there. It's going to be a change. I do want to bring up, though, if you're interested in having this conversation about, the choice that Trump made of not going. And there's been a lot of talk about it. A lot of talk, obviously, on all channels. I mean, and I saw this, I guess it was a graph today, and it was on, I can't remember if it was on Media Buzz. It was on Media Buzz. And what it was a graph of how many times Donald Trump's name was mentioned 3 days before.
Yep.
Before, and then 2 days, or I guess 1 day, because they only did 1 day after, Thursday. And 3 days prior, Donald Trump's name was mentioned 16,000 times. It was 65% higher than all the other candidates. And I thought, wow, that was a brilliant move, because it's just like branding. It's saying the person's name over and over and over and over again, negative or positive. It's still saying the name 16,000 times within 3 days, and 65% more. So I find that fascinating. And I actually think now, like on the other side of it, that was probably a very smart strategy move. And the next day he was already in New Hampshire. It's like, look, I'm over Iowa. I'm out. I'm going to New Hampshire. What do you think about that, Nick?
Hey, we're going to go to break in a second here. Nick, finish up, and we're going to go to a quick break.
Okay. What I'm curious about, I think what is going to make or break it for Trump is the response to him not showing up. And I don't know what that response is. I have no feel whatsoever for how Iowa's going to vote or how they're going to think about that. I just, because I hear things on both sides that sound very convincing, so I really don't have a feel. That's why I can hardly wait for tomorrow for the voting.
I know. I kind of want it over with. Like,
with that, we're going to go to a break.
Okay.
Okay, we're coming back into the break for part 2, and the topic today is about marketing and the campaigns and marketing and advertising. So I'm going to start out with Heather, since she has a marketing background. What do you think of the different candidates and how they're marketing themselves?
Oh man, this is what I love. This is why I'm watching. This is why I'm so addicted to it. It's about a few things in the marketing perspective of the candidate, but also their positioning and their PR. Like, I look at everything, what they're dressing, how their hair is, what they're wearing. I mean, I really look at everything. Like, for instance, Jeb Bush, I was looking at him. I'm like, somebody needs to tell him to dress better. Like, he's just not positioning himself. His shoulders aren't back. He doesn't stand straight. He's a really tall guy. Someone that is doing really well, other than Trump. Trump does very well in the PR place because he's a master at it. But actually, Rubio is doing well. He's a short guy, and he does everything significantly, so you never actually see that he's a short guy. He sits down on all interviews. He doesn't do a lot of standing. Same thing with Rand Paul. He does his positioning really well. He has good talking points. Rubio has got amazing talking points. He's really to the point. The thing about Ted Cruz I don't like in his responses, he sounds very preachy, liking or not liking the policy. How he sounds is like a kind of like a Southern Baptist preacher. Now here we're going to talk about. He has this kind of sing-songy voice. So that I'm noticing. But as far as the marketing and the advertising, you talked about that. I want to bring that up. I looked at Hillary's family thing and about her mother, really focused on her mother, and her mother had a bad childhood and now she's becoming president. I don't resonate with that. Okay, my mom had a bad childhood too. I mean, what does that have to do with me? Yes, does it drive me? But it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to be a good president on any level. So I didn't really like it. I didn't resonate with it whatsoever. Bernie's, believe it or not, his calling for America. If you notice, it was Willie wasn't hard hitting. It had more of a, I don't want to say this word, more of a hippie kind of kumbaya, bring everybody together, America tone to it. That was, I think it resonates with his voters, and it was good. I liked it. I mean, it was an interesting kind of a kumbaya. I hate to say that word just because the music was real slow, in kind of an all-encompassing piece. And just one more thing, Nick, and I'll give this over to you. But the other piece of that, what was the other one that was in there? So Trump's was okay. He just kept talking about how he's going to, be a strong military guy and go after ISIS and make America great again. But he didn't really say much. It was on the other edge of the kumbaya. It was more like hard hitting. We're going to make her great, really strong. So as far as advertising, who I think is doing really well, I think Bernie's doing phenomenal. I think he's doing amazing, especially for being 74-year-old man. Like, he actually has someone on his team that knows what they're doing. So, and I think Trump is too. So, Nick, what do you think?
Well, I think first of all, that all of a sudden I'm.
Nick, what do you see in the marketing? What do you see from your perspective as an artist, and also in that wealthy Orange County Democrat clientele you have down there? What do they feel? What are they talking about?
Okay, first part of the question. The first question was about the ads. Oh, first of all, the Bernie ad, I see as his aligning itself with his "not me, but we." Is his thing. His ad it included a lot of people. It was trying to include everybody, and that we are going to do this, not that I'm going to do this. And I saw just the opposite with Trump. And so, and the Trump thing was kind of dark and kind of scary. It was like, whoa. It was combative for sure on a lot of levels. Where Bernie's was warm and all that. And then another factor about Bill, you were talking about getting the 15% in the caucuses, because Martin O'Malley, for whatever he gets, he's encouraging his people to vote for Bernie. So that's going to be a factor that, whatever, even if Hillary, say, ekes ahead a couple of percentage points, well, then Martin O'Malley's people are going to jump towards Bernie. Now, Bernie's got New Hampshire wrapped up, but if he can even get close, it's going to be a major event. And if he wins, it's going to be a game changer for everybody. If Bernie wins, I mean, everybody's campaign is going to have to completely change. Because nobody is still saying, "Oh, well, Bernie's going to be the candidate. Bernie's going to be the candidate." None of the news pundits, the political pundits, nobody's saying that, even except for people like us, people like me. And down here, it's hard for me to read, Bill, what's going on in Orange County, because we used to be a bastion of right-wing conservatism, and remember when we were growing up and all that. Yeah. And now we're not red anymore. We're purple. We're about 50-50 in Orange County. So the demographic has changed, and I am surrounded. I'm in Bernie country, wherever everybody that I hang with, everybody that, we're Bernie people. So it's hard for me to judge, I don't know. The Trump phenomena has me completely stumped, just stumped. I'm amazed. I'm just amazed. And only Trump could get away with some of the things that he's done. Anybody else, it would have been the death knell. I mean, how many times we heard, "Oh, that's it for Trump," and his numbers bump up. Oh, he can't do that. Oh, and his numbers bump up. So I am confused. I don't know what to say. That's why I'm waiting for tomorrow.
I think a lot of people are confused. I think the establishment is the most confused. And what it is, I think there's just an underlying group of people, maybe 35 to 40%, 35% of the American population is very upset at the establishment, both Democrats and Republicans. And, I'm going to ask one quick question. I'm going to go to another break. Heather, what is it like down in Texas? What are they thinking down there? Now I think where you are is still predominantly Republican, isn't it?
No, I'm in a pocket. I'm in Austin. It's very Democratic.
Okay, that's moderate. Yeah.
Yeah, it's more moderate. Now, surrounding me, I have friends who are all Republicans, so we're always talking. But as a whole, as Austin, it's pretty Democratic in general. But what's funny about Ted Cruz is that he is a senator. He is from Texas. He is from here. And I found it interesting that Glenn Beck, who lives in Dallas, and Dana Lash, a conservative radio host, they both endorsed Cruz this week, as well as the Governor Perry, ex-Governor Perry. So they all three, and they all live in Texas still, have backed him. However, what I'd call, chatter, coffee chatter, talking around with friends and family and just people around, it's actually really heavy Trump or Cruz. I memean, it's usually one of the two. And then Bernie. I don't hear any. So I hear nothing about Hillary. I have not met one person that's like, well, like a no one. There's just it's like a zero chatter. I'm wondering who the heck is going to vote for her. Bernie, I hear, definitely Cruz, and definitely Trump. What's interesting too is people really like Chris Christie. I think it's because he's a little feisty, kind of like Trump. So I hear a lot of Chris Christie as well.
We talked about who we thought was going to win. Who do we think is going to come in second place? Both of you guys give us second place. Then we're going to go to a break. After you tell me who's going to come in second in both of the, it's pretty easy. The Democrats is pretty easy.
Yeah, Hillary, and I think it's going to be Rubio for second, is what I think. Okay. You tell you the truth, he's the only one that scares me, because from everything the polls that I've seen, that he'd be the one that is the most difficult to beat, and the polls say that Trump. Bernie would beat Trump by a bigger margin than Hillary would. But Rubio is, even though I'm diametrically opposed to a lot of things he says, he seems to be the voice of reason in the Republican Party, at this point in time, And how about this? How about the 6 candidates, 6 of them just said that they would legislate gays out, that to make gays illegal. They just said that.
I haven't heard that.
I just heard it today.
But Nick, we can't say we just heard that, because we have to have some facts. Like, where's the quotes?
Well, the fact is, I heard it. That's all I'm saying. It was on Facebook.
You're having coffee this morning?
No, on Facebook.
Well,
that's as bad.
Well, just saying
that's just as bad. You can't Facebook stuff. 90%. You go to Wikipedia.
Yeah.
You go to sources, and you go to known sources. We got to cite the sources.
I really doubt
Meet the Press.
Okay.
I would doubt
that.
That would be a stupid
Facebook
move.
You got to really, yeah.
So to answer your question on mine, I think Bernie's going to come in close second, because I still think for some reason Hillary's going to pull it out. Here's why I think that. I honestly think majority it's Bernie. But I just think that Hillary is evil, and she's going to do something wizardy to come out. Like, I have her as like the evil Antichrist, and she's going to figure out bringing people out from the woodwork or something and make it happen. I don't know how she's going to do it. That's what I mean by that. I do believe that. I have this, I think she knows where the bodies are buried, and I think she's going to pull something out. She's going to have people come over from Mexico and become voters tomorrow or something. I don't know.
It's too late now, but I felt the same way last week. That's what I said. I thought that she would do something real hard hitting or tough. But let me, as we go to a break, when we come back from the break,
I get to say who I.
Oh, you said okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Republicans.
Yeah.
So on the Republican side, believe it, Nick, I concur with you. I think it's going to be Rubio. The challenge with Rubio, though, on that is I think he's bought. You can tell he's a young guy. I think he needs to add some gray hair to him. They need to put it in there. But I think he's bought too much. He is a talking head for the moderate conservative party, the establishment. So that one concerns me.
Okay. And, concerning Bill, what I was just saying here.
Oh, I can't. What?
Okay, there's 6 candidates, and the headline is there it is.
Nick, you got to source it, though. Where's the source?
On the break. I'm just confirming the fact that I just read this on Facebook, and now I'm going to read the article.
Okay, we'll source it. We'll source the source.
All right.
And you always source it when we say something. Let me give you my forecast real fast, 2 seconds. It's going to be Trump and then Cruz, the Republicans. And I'll tell you what, since I didn't see anything come out of Hillary, and we have the issue on the emails that sort of came up a little bit. I don't know how much is going to play in it, but I still think Bernie might just push out Hillary. And it could be even bigger than that. If he gets a big turnout with the millenniums, he could blow her out.
You got to pause it.
He could blow her out.
Yeah.
Okay, we're coming off a break, and Sam has caught up with a group. So we've got Sam Brooks is a millennium. She's a student of political science and an advocate for postmodern politics, and she's coming to us from Long Beach, right? Long Beach?
Yep.
Still in Long Beach. And a student.
Still there.
And don't have finals right now. So you're on for the last 7 to 8 minutes of the show. I want to bring up one issue that I thought was really, I think it's controversy in its own way. Hillary Clinton has had problems with the email, and I've made that known for the last 5, 6, 7 months. And she, not only FOIA, but keeping the information from the American population, which you're not supposed to do, but she also has the 24 top secret plus emails now have been sent to her or were in her server in her possession.
22, right?
22, whatever it is. And then also there's 2 emails that said where she asked people to remove Indicia, which was the classified. And that's really going to get her. I think that's the stuff that's going to get her when this all breaks open. But here's 2 things. The president knows what's going on. The president absolutely knows. There's 150 FBI agents working on this, and the president has to know what's going on. The State Department, which is under his administration, released this information Friday morning. That's damning for Hillary if you're trying to hurt her. I mean, the timing is just suspect in itself. So I still believe that the president, and there's 2 different sects, at least I can see it on the Democrat side. You've got the president's Democratic Party, and you've got the Hillary Clinton party out there, or the Clintons. I think there's a power struggle still going on among the Democrats. I believe there's still another person that's going to come out of the woodwork and run under the blessings of the president. And I still think it's going to be Biden. If you even listen to his quotes coming up, he said, other than the vice president, no one else has the experience that Hillary has. So I think they're still lining up Biden. But that said, other people are lining up this week too. I was this week with announcements where we have other people are going to run as an independent if Bernie is elected, or Bernie gets the nomination and Trump gets the nomination. You've got Bloomberg, and
Bloomberg said he would come out. Yeah.
And so I think there's a lot of stuff out there. I think there's so much stuff that's going to happen in the next, 6, 7 weeks. It's going to make your head spin.
Like I said earlier, if Bernie happens to win, the whole landscape is going to completely change, both sides. I have no way of knowing what it's going to be, but I can pretty much tell that everything will change. It's just the whole landscape will be completely. It'll be like a big earthquake, big shakeup, every which way. And I think,
go ahead.
I just with as close as Bernie is. Well, I think he's leading, but is what they say on the news. And then you factor in the Martin O'Malley people, which he is encouraging to vote for Bernie. Bernie should have, I think he's going to finally get the respect that he deserves as far as being a candidate.
Well,
and as far as experience goes.
Respect from the establishment, basically, you're saying.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I don't think
Both
establishment doesn't want him. They don't want him.
I disagree.
The establishment? You think the establishment wants Bernie?
No, this house doesn't want Bernie.
You think the crony capitalists want Bernie?
Well, I don't think of the middle class or the centers as being crony capitalists. They're victims of crony capitalism on both sides, but I don't think of them as crony capitalists.
No. I'm saying the establishment is the oligarchy, whether it's the state of California, which has a huge oligarchy, or up in Washington, that tries to pick who the candidate's going to be ahead of time. The special interests all get together and they sort of align, with certain people. That's how it works. And there's a divide between Democrat and Republican, but there are a group of special interests and lobbyists that it's called the third house. That sort of dictate a lot of elections, especially in California. Man, California is terrible about that. Sam, since you missed the first part, why don't we finish up a little bit with give us who you think is going to win tomorrow in Iowa, both on the Democrats and Republicans. Give us first and second place.
For the Democrats, I think Bernie, and then for the Republicans, doesn't matter.
Well, who do you think? Who do you think from the outside? Just as a millennial.
Wow, gee.
Who do you think is going to? I mean, you got to shoot.
Sorry.
I don't know if you caught the. So who do you think?
I mean,
if you had to throw a bet down in Las Vegas tomorrow, how would you bet?
Trump. Like I said, I think Trump is going to have the nomination at the end. But I really fundamentally believe it doesn't matter, because once you're talking about ideology instead of politics, or moral values and religion instead of policies and political choices and things like that, then it's really irrelevant.
So who do you think is going to come in second?
I don't know.
No,
I don't know.
Okay. Decline to state. We call it decline to state. Very good. So, Heather, do you want to finish up the show? Any last comments for iTunes portion today?
Sure, absolutely. So I would love to talk about the Hillary scandal, as we call it, the email scandal. So something that I find fascinating about that is how she has this consistency of, I neither sent nor received classified information at the time. Her little, and I didn't say that perfect, right? She has this consistency, yet she also went on to a one-on-one show, and she said, I did have a private server and I apologize and I'm sorry. And then she went back to, I didn't do anything wrong. So she keeps going back and forth and back and forth. And I think it's kind of a 101 of politics, that if you make a position, just stick with it throughout the game. I think that's one thing she's making a mistake on. But I definitely think the email thing, some way, form, or fashion, is going to come back and hit her in the butt. And I think Obama is going to have something to do with it. I think Obama's going to have to pardon her, or he's going to say, tell you what, I'm replacing her with, Bloomberg or Biden. I mean, there's going to be something that Obama's going to do. We're just not sure what it is that, and I remember there was is it Meet the Press last week when I forgot the host of Meet the Press said to her, well, we heard Bloomberg was going to come and possibly step in if you don't get the nomination. Right. And her response was, well, tell him, don't worry about it. I'll do this. He can go home and relax, or something like that. It was kind of this back off, Bloomberg. I got it. Obama, just chill. Let me try to do this. And it was kind of this, she feels someone in the back of her heels going, you need to get this done. So it was an interesting kind of play on that. So I personally think Hillary's going to be taken down by this somehow, or replaced. That's my, view on it.
I really think, it's kind of interesting, because I do think, at the highest level in the Democrat system, that they know what's going on at the very highest level, the president of the United States.
I do feel that I call establishment is like the old school Democrat, because Bernie currently right now is not liked by they call establishment of the Democratic side. Hillary is their ticket, and so they don't want Bernie. So they're scrambling, trying to figure out if it's not going to be Hillary, it's going to be Biden or Bloomberg. They're trying to figure out what they're going to do.
On the Republican side, the establishment would be Rubio. Rubio definitely right now, but also Bush was part of that organization. Rubio, Bush. But the anti-establishment is definitely Cruz. But the establishment, I think Trump would fit into the establishment
They'd allow him in. They would work him in. Yeah. But it's definitely established. What I find fascinating about Jeb and Mario, I call him, is that Jeb brought him up because they're both from Florida, and one was the governor and one was a little senator, and he helped him move up the ranks, and now he's attacking him and possibly beating him in a presidential race. So I find that kind of an interesting, and they're both establishment.
And Sam, Nick, any last thoughts, and then we'll finish up on you're looking at the Republic. I know you pay less attention to the Republicans, so I guess Heather Ann and I are both the Republicans, so we're looking more at the Republicans. You're looking at more Democrats, of course.
I look at both right now.
Yeah,
I look at both,
but
I just don't think it makes a difference. I don't know. I mean, it's like we can sit here and like the email thing. Like we've been talking about that like repeatedly over the last couple of weeks, and it's which candidate this week seems like they're. And I guess what I'm wondering more so is like, what do we care about? You know what I mean? Because the rest is just all details. It's just all like, it's all a sham, in my opinion, of this, heated race between these different candidates that are so extreme and whatever. But the point is like, what do we care about?
Well, I also think that on the Republican side, they're grasping at straws. They still bringing up Benghazi, still bringing up the emails. Now, I think she is too powerful.
That email stuff is serious.
Never said it wasn't serious, Bill.
It's law,
but
it wasn't. First of all, the Republicans did not bring it up this week. It was like the State Department brought it up under the president.
Okay, but what they're look. The thing is, she is too powerful, and she has enough dirt. Like they have dirt on her, she's got dirt on them. They're not going to just sweep her aside. She's much too powerful.
There's 150 FBI agents working on this case.
I'll make a bet.
There are literally this is just a forecast. This is not proven. This is just talking to my classmates and different folks who I had top secret clearance at one time, right? It just expired. There are probably 50 to 100 people being investigated right now for security violations within the State Department. That's just rumor.
Probably more.
When I say rumor, that's rumor. That's rumor from just talking.
Probably more.
And people will go to jail under those circumstances. That's just
but not Hillary. That's my prediction.
But if a bunch of people go to jail and Hillary is leading the State Department and they're out of the State Department when she's there, that's got to affect the election.
I mean, look, her entire security team is dead now, and nobody's gone to jail. From the 8 years that they were in the White House. I mean,
some of them. Some.
Okay, I can't name the article, but I right at the moment, but I did read an article that was talking about their entire security team for 8 years and how there were mysterious this and that and the other, and nobody went to jail. Every president breaks, every politician on a national level breaks the law. Bill, everybody breaks the law.
I hope that's not the case in America, that we have a constitution and we have justice. I hope that's not the case.
Well, my opinion is that in our justice system, we have very little justice. And look who's in the jails.
And in between,
you can murder people and get away with it if you have money.
Nick, we do want to talk about that incarceration thing. We need to bring that up as an issue. Sam, we're going to do that shortly, but this is, because of the election tomorrow. This is the election. Well, Heather, thank you for coming on. This sort of wraps up the iTunes, but everyone stay tuned because we're going to go on YouTube for a while. And it goes more open and we'll change and move around the moderators and people jump in and out. Sam, stick in here. And if everyone, reminder to go to Meet the Voter at meetthevoter.com for updates and information. We'll be here every Sunday night. So we really start around 5:30 Pacific, but we get going around 6 o'clock. So, and we're all done with the iTunes portion. Yay. But we're in silence. Now we can just blab. This is pure blab.
I love the map and seeing we've got somebody it looks like in Europe somewhere. I just think that's so cool. I love blab. I'm more and more falling in love with blab.
Now we can really talk. I really like to make this iTunes go to 3,000 people. Somehow in politics, it's got to get to. Hey, here's just a side note.
I'm getting.
We're on a great platform right now. I'm going to actually speak to the public. I got invited to speak Tuesday night for public radio, public TV. Public TV or people are having me over with a group. It's a group that's meeting with public TV, but I'm going to meet the manager of public TV, and they don't even know about blab. And today I watched a blab where there were police officers talking across the world about how they could use Blab for public safety, and then bring people in and talk to people. Why aren't politicians using this platform? Like if I was a city councilman coming up on Friday night or Tuesday night and just answering questions. And anybody been watching the questions on the right side? I haven't. It's been a weird show. Let's see. I know the win.
I'm finding fascinating the banging.
Every week, Nick's place is looking better. You haven't seen the view the other direction. He's got the ocean out the other direction. That's his art. See,
I bet. I mean,
I
just hear this. It's fine.
It's his artwork. That you did that a long time. All that stuff.
It's gorgeous.
Back in there.
Yeah.
Hardwood.
Hey, I meant to ask you, since we're not, I meant to ask you, Bill, real quick. I have the Yeti, but I also have one of these other mics. I just need what do you call that? The thing you have right there.
Oh, an arm?
No, this thing.
An arm. Buy one of these.
You can move around.
I've got this. This is $32. It's real heavy. See it? And you can really works well in the desk. And you can actually, Nick's got one. You can really look cool like that. But this is actually probably more reasonable buying. This is $100 for the arm, a good arm. And the cheapo ones, this is a kickstand. And I'll go ahead and drop in the link.
Okay.
And it's $32.
Where you? Oh, thank you. I was going to go. Yes.
If you go to netcasting101.com, go to netcasting101.com resources, and on the bottom of the resource page is the top.
Okay.
This is the equipment I recommend. The ATR 2100 and the ProLine desk boom mic stand. So let me drop this in. So that's the recommendation.
Hey.
So,
hey, somebody
awesome.
up here
Thank you so much.
Earlier asked what a millennial was.
Who did, really?
Yeah, I think this CK Alquist.
Where's he from?
I don't know. It was up here.
Yeah, I'm going to get out and let Jonathan come in for a while. And then also, when you guys cycle out in a little bit and let Roxanne come in, okay?
Okay.
You guys answer the middle. Jonathan, you ready to come in? You went down below?
Sure.
So you can give me a yes or no. No, Nick doesn't need to go out. Oh, Roxanne, come on in. Yes, okay, Jonathan's going to come in. Roxanne, are you ready to come in? Jonathan, you can come in right now. As soon as you come in, I'll go out. There's Jonathan's coming in. I'm out. See you, Jonathan. Yours to take over.
Go out.
Where is everybody? No, don't go away.
I was about to leave. You want me to stay until they?
Heather, real fast. You're scheduled in this hour. No, you're scheduled. Look at the schedule on the page. I'm really trying to put that schedule up and try to get you guys input. Maybe call on the phone and say, hey, when do you want to go on? So it runs a little smoother. I need to write everything out too. And the dog stopped barking too. Anyway, see you guys.
Yeah. All right. So, Sam, how close do you think the Democratic primary is going to be? Is Bernie going to win? And if so, by how much?
Yeah, like I said, I think he's going to win. But, the polls that I saw, which there's tons of polls, but what I saw was that he was going to win by quite a bit. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm just like anti-election today.
You're not into it.
I just think that there's so many other important things to be talking about.
Yeah. So
I understand it's on the eve of, but it feels like it always sort of serves as this distraction from what are the issues that we should actually be paying attention to. Kind of like this.
Right. And Sam, what are some of the core issues that you think the electorate should be really concentrating and talking about? Can you give us 3 core issues that you feel that should be discussed in more by the media and by the electorate?
So right now we're experiencing a literally unprecedented level of economic inequality in the United States as well as in the world, where in the past couple of years, the wealth of the 66 richest people in the world went up by 41%. And now that their wealth is equal to the bottom 50% of all of the human race. And in the United States, we're experiencing a level of inequality that we've never had. except for just before the Great Depression. So it's like, we tend to like treat this stuff like, yeah, things are unequal, blah, blah, blah. But in reality, this is like, no, we're unequal in a way that we have rarely ever been before in history. So I think that's something that needs to be addressed. And another thing would be ignored issues of racism and in our culture. If you want to look at the prison industrial complex, and that 1 in 100 Americans are incarcerated, the majority of which are Black men. And that we have that highest rate of incarceration among any developed country in the world. And for the third issue, I'd say I'd kind of be torn between environmental issues that we're experiencing right now, or like simple facts. Like, for example, I'm not sure if you guys are aware, but the average transsexual woman of color lives to be 35 years old in the United States because of the level of murder and violence that group experiences. So I think that's very concerning as well.
Right. So basically, inequality and it increasing, the amount of people in America that's in the prison system, and the life inexpectancy.
It's like this example of oppression and violence against minorities, right, or submissive groups in society. You just take like literally a transsexual woman of color is the most oppressed group. You know what I mean? It's the epitome of oppression. It's just an example of racial oppression, of sexual violence in the United States against women, of all kinds of things.
So to broaden that last point out, all minorities face economic life expectancy and other issues,
disparities.
Right. So, what do you reckon, Heather? Are they 3 points, 3 areas that really you think are crucial elements that are not discussed, Heather?
Yeah, they're definitely not discussed. I mean, they're obviously good points, and that's why the election is such a big deal right now, because it's not only just the presidential election, not only the vice president election, but it's also many other, local governor, Senate that's going to happen in 2016. So that is why everyone's so passionate about their particular candidate, because they know that's going to be the leader of the free world to help with all these particular issues. So I think what Sam is pointing to, the details of that is great. And there's like the big picture of it. So I think the first piece, there can't be any equality if there isn't an economy. And so you focus on the economy and creating jobs for the middle class, and then you can start talking about equality. But if our middle class is going away and we don't actually have an economy for jobs, it doesn't matter about equality.
Can I quickly ask you about that? In your opinion, on the Republican and the Democratic side, do you really see any clear new thinking or new policies apart from changing the taxation system that will change the economic circumstance that's basically gone forward since 2008, really, hasn't it? Do you see what are the key policies of any of the candidates that could turn that situation around?
I think it's stimulating the economy and helping business owners create more businesses, which helps the economy when it creates more taxation, as well as it creates more jobs, because this America is really built on small businesses. So if you help the small business, you help America. If you squash the small business, you're going to hurt the economy. And so that's why, for me, I right now am a big supporter of Donald Trump, because he understands that you have to basically, focus on the small business. That's a taxation issue as well as a stimulation of the economy. That's why he's focusing on China and helping with that process. But I just honestly think that there's a lot of details. There's a lot of issues. There's a lot of things that we would love to change about America. I agree, but I think it starts with we have to be able to feed ourselves and to create an economy and to have a middle class. I think it really starts with that. To encapsulate,
you're saying that the 3 issues that Sam pointed out are really important, but the overall, the one that encapsulates and dominates even over these 3 is the economy in general. Would that be correct? Yeah.
Yeah, I just think it's like a baseline. Is that when we're, you know, I think when we focus on the economy and focus on the middle class and focus on the education, then we can go into the details and help with the equality and the pay equality and the transgender equality and all those different things. But if we're
sorry to interrupt.
in the economy, there's no way.
I will call you in, Sam. I just would like to ask Roxanne. Roxanne, what does she feel of those three policies that Sam pointed out and Heather's response? What's your view, Roxanne?
Well, if you always mention racism, I say you cannot forget disability. Everybody always mentions it without, we don't get out and march on the streets for disability. Nobody ever gets mentioned. Also, you talk about economy. I thought it was funny when Trump got asked, would he take Social Security because he was a millionaire or whatever he is. So he was asked when he asked his other friends that were millionaires not take Social Security, or would he make it a law? He said he would ask them. So would that be true? That might help with coming up with more Social Security. I got my voice back. Sorry, y'all. And what else was said?
Well, the amount of people that's in the American prison system is one of the highest rates in the world, well, the highest rate, and also how minorities are treated in America.
You'll probably laugh. I don't know if Heather will find this funny, but don't let them sit on death row as long.
So your response to that is that you would like to see an increase in the speed and the volume of executions in North America. Is that correct, Roxanne?
Well, they just don't need to sit on death row as long if they're said they kill someone. That's just me.
No,
I believe in the death
I'm not
penalty.
trying to be funny, Roxanne, but if that's your position, that's your position. There's a lot of people in America that would agree with you. So basically, you feel the present appeal system, state and federally, should be drastically reduced, and executions should happen at a much quicker pace. Would that be fair?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you feel that a lot of the prisoners in federal prisons and in high security prisons that are facing a death penalty should have that happen to them.
Can you guys hear me and see me?
Yes, I can hear. There's a voice in the ether coming.
Yeah, I can only see Roxanne. This is Nick, and I can't see anybody else, but I can hear you guys.
Well, I'm amazed, actually, because this system should only allow 4 people, but you've managed to break it, Nick. You're the voice from the godlike voice.
I'm looking at Roxanne, and above her head, it says Dr. Nick Hernandez.
Well, there we go.
Roxanne, it says that you're me, and there's nothing above my head.
And we're not seeing that. So how would you respond to that, Sam, that basically a way of reducing the long-term prison population is to accelerate the execution? What would be your response to that, Sam?
I want to respond to a couple of things. I mean, first off, I think that Heather, your opinion that we do things that are good for the economy and then we will somehow be able to combat economic inequality in the United States. I think that's a fundamentally flawed argument, because the point that's being made with the numbers that we have available to us is that it doesn't matter how much money we generate in the system, it's going to go to the same places. So we could pump billions and billions of dollars more into it, but it's not being shared in a way that I consider to be just within our society because of the rampant the rampant corporate socialism that we have
really
going
weird
on.
Because Bill, right now I'm back on. I've turned the computer off. I've refreshed a couple of times.
Nick, can you
I see Roxanne, and she's got her name above my name above her head.
I'm gonna have to let you go, Roxanne.
I'm gonna go.
I already did that, but I'll do it again.
This
is crazy, Bill. I'm turning it off.
Can you cancel? He's back again. Here you are, Nick. You're with us again.
Okay. So what I was saying was that's what I had to say in terms of like, you know, how we can address economic issues. Like next, I think that it's generally like coming from a place of privilege to be able to call issues like the ones I evoked details, because they're details if they're not affecting you. Whereas if you're in a group that's, you know, experiencing, you know, violence or oppression in a real way, then it's not a detail, it's your entire existence. So I feel like sometimes people don't consider what other people are experiencing. They don't give it enough value, you know, because maybe they're not experiencing it themselves.
Yeah. Can you actually see me, both of you?
I can see you.
Yeah, I'm not seeing you. I had to refresh. So, but I can hear both of you. Maybe at some time Bill can re-enter because I'm not seeing you, and I don't think either of you are.
Hooray!
Oh, good. You've entered the wrong one, though, Bill. All right, here we go. Here we go. Right. I don't know what's going on here.
I've never experienced anything like this.
No, it's really strange. Here we go.
Hi. Hey, Sam. Hey, Heather.
Yeah,
sorry about it.
I think it's Blab that's just having difficulty tonight.
Yes.
I don't think it's
Yeah,
any
I
of
think
us.
Can you guys see me?
No, we can't, Bill. But we're
Stop
back.
having 5 people. Like,
No. I bet Blab's doing some kind of upgrade right now, because what I see right now.
I can see him at the bottom.
I'm going to start recording right now. I'm at the bottom. They've been talking about this. I bet they're doing some kind of upgrade on Sunday night.
All right.
Because look, I'm at the bottom of the screen.
Yeah, I just can see a little bit of you, Bill.
Make the screen small. Shoot it in. Squeeze in your screen. You'll see me in the bottom.
Yeah, I can.
I bet we could bring it up. So you got 5 people on right now. That's crazy.
Yeah, there you go.
It's the first on Blab. We got let me make sure this is recorded.
How do I make it smaller?
Jonathan, record it. I can't record it right now.
No.
Hit the recording.
So I'm going to make...
Somebody hit the recording. It has authority.
It says it's recording. Like what I see, it says recording.
No, I've got
mine says it's not.
It's not responding, Bill.
Record it. Record it, please.
Yes, I'm
It's
doing
not
it now.
responding.
I've done it, Bill.
This is crazy. We got something new. I'm going to take a screenshot of this one.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, Sam. Can you start off again, because we did have some technical difficulties, didn't we?
Yeah. I don't know. I just.
I can't even turn myself off.
You guys hear what I said? Basically, I mean.
I was
Yes,
in a bit
I
of a
did,
panic. So
You guys stay there. I'm going to reboot my computer. So.
Right. All right.
Come back, Heather.
Come back, Heather, if you can. You need to. We can't see you, so you need to.
Oh, really?
You need to refresh your browser.
I can see you guys fine.
Yeah, it happened to me
Can't
as
see
well.
you.
Okay.
Amazing.
You need to recycle, Heather. Right.
And looking at Roxanne with my name above her head was very interesting.
It was. I bet it was. There we go. We're getting there. We're getting there now. After these technical problems, I'm sorry, Sam. Can you attempt to restart the thread for us?
I was just saying in response. I was only responding to Heather so far. So just saying that there's a lot of arguments about in order to combat economic inequality in the United States, then you need to develop the economy more. What I'm saying is that I think that the system is so slanted and we have such rampant corporate socialism, and so that takes place in the structure of our taxation. It takes place in our political arena where candidates are representing corporations and things of that nature. So I think that it doesn't matter how much money you generate, because it's always all going to go to the same people. So that's not going to help the American people. And I feel like if someone like, Heather was saying that she felt that some of the issues I brought up were details, I think that it's easy to call those things details when they aren't your life, and you're not having to deal with them. So as, I think that we all possess privilege, and we all, most of us experience certain kinds of oppression and discrimination as well. But you have to, I think, acknowledge the privilege that you're experiencing and be able to appreciate how other people's experience in this country in this day and age, for a multitude of reasons, is so extremely different from your own, and that it's important. It's not a detail, it's their lives. So even if it's not my life, I still think it's really important, Yeah.
I agree with you there, Sam. But I'd like to ask Heather a question about Mr. Trump. I'm going to say something quite controversial, really. I actually think Mr. Trump is going to become the president of the US, will become the next president of America, actually. I actually feel he's unstoppable, and he will become the next president, Heather.
Donald Trump?
Yes, I think he's unstoppable, and I think the forces that are behind him are unstoppable. He's made, specifically around the relationship with China, he's made that the relationship with China has to be renegotiated. But there doesn't seem to have been much detail. He also continuously says that under his presidency, America will become great again. But are there any real core policies apart that you feel he has made clear how this will be made into reality?
It's interesting you say that. He really hasn't. I mean, he hasn't done what I'd call the policy conversation, where he's laid out a plan necessarily. And I think a lot of that, and some people might say that that's not good, but the thing that's interesting about that is that that's kind of one thing I like about him. And I know that sounds counterintuitive, but it's like he knows in business, sometimes you focus on the vision and then you surround yourself with people that help you get there. You don't always know the detailed plan of how it's going to get there. And I think that's what we want in politics. We want this detailed plan, and then we get mad as the people that when they go into office, that detailed plan doesn't come out. And that's usually because there's all these other forces and situations that happen when you're in business and politics that come up. I think the thing that I like about Trump is that he focuses on what he wants. He creates the vision of what he wants, and then he puts it out there. And he knows that there's going to be upset. There's going to be walls he's going to hit. He knows that there's going to be people that are not going to stop him in the way. And he's used to that. That's the part of doing business. When you do business, especially as a real estate investor, especially as a real estate investor in New York, especially as a real estate investor around the world, which he's done, he comes up against walls over and over again. He knows how to get through them. And it's not always a planned way. You just have to go after this. That's why a lot of people don't start a business, because they want to have this plan. And business isn't a plan. Sometimes you have to create the business and go after it and go up against the road.
Could I ask you?
That's what I feel. So you're right. He doesn't have a detailed plan, but I don't think anything's wrong with that.
Yeah, it could be. I'm only surmising this, but could be one of the other reasons why you're not really that bothered is that you've seen a lot of other people with so-called detailed plans, and as soon as they get into office, that they're dumped anyway. So you don't personally, maybe we're treating you as the kind of archetypal Trump voter. Is maybe that might be one of the reasons why you're not really bothered, because you don't think they really, the establishment kind of candidates, they can have all the detailed policies they like, but they don't ever stick to them anyway. Would that be part of the reason why you're not that bothered?
That they don't stick to them is that sometimes they can't. And you have to understand, that even the president of a company, have board members, or a president of the United States has the House and the Senate. And there's a lot of things going on to play more than just their plan. It's not like they become a president. They lay out their plan. Everyone just sticks to it. That's not how business works. That's not how life works. That's not how being a president of the United States works. So I think that's why it doesn't really bother me. As long as I know there's an alignment of the vision, that to me, I like.
Now, I'd like to respond to that.
Yeah, of course you can, Nick.
Okay. First of all, in all the years that I've been in business and worked with businesses that I've been a part of or worked with other businesses, having a definite business plan is an imperative. And having a plan for the country, I don't think you can wing it, Heather. I disagree that that's going to be productive or fruitful. And also, Jonathan, I also think we should have this discussion 24 hours from now about how Trump's going to do. We'll all have better vision, and because I completely disagree with you. But that's what we do at this show. We agree to disagree, and I'm really.
I would like the opportunity to explain why I think Mr. Trump is going to win. Mm-hmm. I feel that America is facing a very similar situation to Spain in the 1930s, and I see Mr. Trump as a kind of quasi-fascist, very similar to Franco and to Mussolini, and I think America is facing what could be another breakdown and could rapidly ascend into another civil war in this country. And I really think Mr. Trump will help that process considerably. And I don't think Mr. Trump really cares about the democratic system, about the Constitution. I think it's about power and how you utilize power. I think he could quite rapidly organize a group of people that wouldn't be called black shirts, but he would utilize political violence to keep himself in power. I don't really think any of the courts, the Constitution, the systems of America, Mr. Trump really cares two tuppence about. So, and that will lead to the total fragmentation of America. But he's a consequence of things that have been building up for a long time.
I mean, to say to that, I don't think he could have run 4 years ago or 8 years ago and gotten where he's at. I think you're right. It's like it's just the timing of it all. I agree.
Yeah. But obviously the rest of you wouldn't agree with Heather. But see, have I made my position totally clear, Nick?
Yeah. I just disagree, and I don't see that because he's got so much baggage. Look over here, what Monty just put about the Trump venture, and Trump has all sorts of these. Did you read what Monty Henry just put on there?
It's completely blank for me. The whole chat box is black.
Yeah,
you guys going to say something, and then because I have to go.
Yeah, sure. Of course you can, Sam.
I think, sorry, I have to be somewhere in a minute, but no, I think like what was the most alarming to me, like Heather, when you were talking, is just how comfortable you are treating government like a business. And I don't think that government is a business. I think that there's something more to the institutions and the society and the communities that we have in place than business. I think that's super alarming. And I don't think a government should be run like a business either. I mean, it's, to me, not a business in and of itself, although it supports an economy and helps to direct it. I mean, I think the idea, especially if anyone who's supporting Bernie Sanders, the idea is to get it out of the business so that it can then stop corrupting the economy that we have in place. But I just think that's sad to see it so cut and dry and about money, and I don't know.
Well, I'm going to let Heather.
I'm allowed to rebuttal on that.
Yes, go on. Yeah, sorry, you're going.
As the debate says, I'm allowed to rebuttal. My name's mentioned. Yeah, well, I believe that. I 100% believe that the government should be run like a business and not like it is right now. And that is the problem we have right now, is that it's too big. It is not supposed to be this big. The Constitution was created such that the economy, the government is supposed to be this big. We are now leaning upon the economy and leaning upon the government versus leaning upon ourselves. And the founding fathers designed this country so that we were freedom fighters and self-reliant, not just relying on the government. And so that's why I feel 100%, and there's no sadness about it, that we're a capitalist society and we should go back to the Constitution of the Founding Fathers.
Okay, so I want to respond to that, please. Okay,
yeah, go on, off you go.
This country was designed to benefit white Protestant landowning men and no one else. And it was designed to do so on the backs of everybody else in this society. And anyone, I'm not sure if you studied political science or history yourself, but anyone who knows about what was the real foundation of the Constitution and who this country was supposed to work for will tell you that. And afterwards, now we are transitioning into an age where hopefully maybe everyone is a little bit less okay with that philosophy. And so I think it's really easy to, from certain perspectives of privilege to say that, it's all about business and we can do all these things for ourselves because maybe you or I in certain ways or whatever aren't experiencing that. We're not on an even playing field. We're not all, it's easy as like a white person to say that or a white heterosexual person to say that. You know what I mean? But I would love for everyone to be able to go out and do everything that they want to do at the same rate as everyone else. But that's not the reality. And I think that's the problem. And I think,
I agree. And can I read something that, Heather, this is also directed at you. If C.K. Alquist, because you can't see this, but I want to read what he just wrote. If government is supposed to be run like a business, doesn't a successful business grow?
And it's not been growing. We're at 0.07 right now, the growth. And Obama has not.
No, the government itself as a business.
No, the economy.
No, we're talking about the government.
No, the whole point is
government. You said the government should be run like a business.
No, the government is here to help the people to create the economy, not to become the economy.
You just said the government should be run as a business.
I think
you said 100% that the government should be run as a business.
I do think you got to give Heather to respond because you both have put questions to Heather, and she does need the time to respond. So, can you respond, Heather?
Sure. So for me, it's about the business should be run like a company, such that the government is here to help the people create an economy and to grow our economy. And currently, as of this last week, that our economy has only grown, I think it's 0.07. We're not growing. We should at least be at 2.0. And we're not growing as an economy. And so I think that now the government's become too big and our country has becoming too small of an economy. And the government, I think, should be run as a company to know its place, to be smaller, to do what it needs to be done to help the people to grow the economy. And that's its job, not to become the economy. That's my view.
Okay, well, what I was just referring to what you said. You said, quote, 100% you think the government should be run like a business.
Correct. And I just said what I meant by that. Absolutely.
And every business, the aim of every business is to grow.
No, not every business to grow. It's also to make sure that it does what it's supposed to do, the mission of the company. And the mission of the company, of the government, is to provide for the people, the human resources, things like that, the government, the military, to protect, to serve the people so that the people can create the economy. And to
would you like to say something, Sam, about that?
Yeah, I was just saying, someone in the chat box brought it up, but they're saying, the point of a business is to make a profit. And that's exactly the problem, in my opinion. And these false divides between groups of people where I think it's obvious within American society that we feel terribly separated from each other. And I believe that was done on purpose. But when you're like thinking, oh, all these lazy people, because that's kind of what I hear in that argument, like we should be taking care of ourselves more and we should be working harder. And to me, it sounds like, a lot of people are looking at our society thinking that these groups of others are sitting around not wanting to do anything with their lives, just wanting to feed off the government and so on and so forth. And my argument would be that, that's a dangerous argument. It's completely unfactual and that we are all a whole lot more alike than we are different. And, I don't think that a government should be run like a business. I think it should be run as something greater than that, as something about our community, as something about rights that, benefit everyone. Maybe that sounds idealistic, but I mean, is the point to like,
well, look what Bill
can I just interrupt because I like to move the conversation on a little bit. I just want to, all right then.
But I'm going to listen. I want to listen to you, but then I'm going to log off. Okay. So go ahead.
But I'd like to ask Heather, fundamentally, I'm interested from people, you seemed, obviously your statement about government, but I just would like to get your thoughts about who you think actually owns government and actually influence government. Because I would put to you that it's large corporations that pay politicians large amounts of money, and it's corporations and banks and other large corporations that mostly are in positions on the head of different government organisations. So is it not really factual that large corporations now in 2016 mostly control what you see as government?
It's a great question. I would actually not disagree with you, but not agree with you. I'd say that I believe I'm kind of a conspiracy theorist that I think there's about 12 families that own the politics of the United States and the world. I think there's just basically, and they're the ones that own, if you believe in the conspiracy, they're the ones that basically own the IRS.
You've just been watching. You've been watching too much Alex Jones.
Alex Jones, right?
Yeah, you've just been watching too much of him.
I'm an Alex Jones girl. Yeah,
I could tell.
So I honestly believe, but I mean, if you look at the more of the undercurrent of that, yeah, I mean, businesses obviously can control a lot more. Google, Facebook, Apple, they have a huge. They obviously have a lot of money and profit, and they can do what they need to do, So I do agree with that at some point because they have the bigger pockets. Yeah, and unfortunately, that's just where we're at.
Oops. Hey, Bill.
Hey, you're
terrible
really
lighting.
dark.
He's gone dark. So when you talk about government, what are you talking about?
Me or Nick?
Yeah, I would like your response, okay. Heather. Because I just want to because obviously I'm a progressive. I'm probably more left-wing than anybody on this panel.
No,
oh, you don't know how left-wing I am, Nick.
I'm left of a communist, so.
My grandfather fought in the Spanish Civil War for the Republic as a Trotskyite. So Heather.
Yeah.
How do you kind of separate what you call as too large government when government is, in your own words, fundamentally controlled by large corporations, which is business? Mm-hmm. So how do you rationalise? Because obviously they get the government which they want. They paid for it, so they got what they wanted, and this is what they wanted, wasn't it?
I disagree with. I kind of disagree with that. I think that there's been a lot of. I don't know. I'm not an Obama fan, so I think he's just really grown the government. Here's what I think the corporation.
Well, don't you think he's owned? Who paid for his elections? Do you? It was the same corporations.
No, it's different corporations. That's why it's kind of upset the apple cart on some levels. Now here, I think it's also the pharmaceutical company on his side. But here is the point. I honestly feel that the government should stay out of, the corporations as much as possible. And the corporations actually like that more, unless they're making money off the government. And I think it was someone earlier talking about, well, the whole point of government is to create a profit. Believe me, the government is making money, especially when you have corporate contracts and government contracts. They make a ton of money on both sides. So I think that the more and more the government steps out and just becomes a protect and serve and not in the middle of business, that's where it gets messy. That's why I want them away from the business side of it and just stay in the social side of it, stay in the society of it.
Can you name a corporation that has been fair to the general public, not just their shareholders?
Heather, let me break into this for a second. Nick, you're missing a fundamental thought. Government has the ability of force. It can put you in jail. It can do all sorts of stuff. In a free market economy, you don't have to use, in a competitive free market economy, you don't have to use stuff, and that's why it works so well. It's not under force. You do it under a trade of value of your dollars for good.
Again, name a corporation that helps.
What? They're not supposed to help. They're supposed to go out and make a profit. Read Atlas Shrugged. I mean, it's a good book to get.
I've read that, and I hate it.
Why?
She was an old drunk.
What's it about? It's
capitalism.
It's about free markets and people working hard to
exactly. Ayn Rand was, I thought she was just
that's the fundamental
John
thought.
Galt. Oh,
Nick, you people with your philosophy. I love you, man, but you're going to put me and lose my freedom because government can get so strong it can take everything you have away from you and do terrible things.
That's not what I want.
Russia,
That's not what I want. That's not what I want.
We don't control it.
No,
that's what the problem is.
It happened in Russia. Communism totally failed.
Yeah.
And social.
Yeah, but to butt in, Bill, I think you're missing one fundamental point, Bill. You said it, and that's what's totally you said in the normal competitive economic. There is in almost every sector of America and Western Europe hardly any competition in any sector. Look at Google. Look at the Koch brothers. Look at almost any industry that's just dominated by one or two large players. There is no fundamental capitalist competitive
I'd say there's
situation.
I'd say with Google, there's a lot of competition.
Zero.
You've got Facebook doing a lot of things that Google's starting to do now. I mean, they're the biggest search engine, but you've got Facebook, I think, made more money than Google. I mean, in the big social media stuff.
Is that but having two major players is not a competitive situation. That's just control.
Someone else will come along and build a better mousetrap.
Well, they're not allowed to build a better trap.
I think that's a bad example because I think it's actually working really well because government is not so much into the network yet. They're trying to take over the internet.
Bill, let me give you an example. In 1939, Buckminster Fuller designed a car that got 100 miles per gallon of gas. And it had a control, so there was no front or no back. All the wheels turned completely around, and it could park with a half inch in the front or the back, and it had two seats looking straight and with one seat in the middle that spun completely around. It had less moving parts, and they gave him something like $30 million, Buckminster Fuller, with General Motors did, with an agreement, a promise that they were going to put this car into production. This is 1939. Okay, as soon as he got his money, they shelved the car because the board of directors were all oil men. And then, he spent all of that money fighting them. So he ended up with nothing. And this corporation is one of the reasons that we're in our climate screwed up. The reason that cars, we have to keep manufacturing cars. And, it's really crazy that corporation.
There's a lot of competition with cars. I mean, there's countries all over the world build cars. There's a lot of
but they shelved. They didn't keep their promise, and we could have had cars in 1939, 1940 that got 100 miles per gallon, but the oil men were against it. So that corporation screwed us to death.
Well, I think I understand where you're coming from, Nick, but I think a better example, a more up-to-date example of how the system can be kind of corrupted is what's happened with Tesla, and the Association of Dealers of America are suing Tesla because they say that Tesla should only be allowed to sell cars through dealerships. And
that's like Texas, I think that's really good.
Well, there's been a number of these cases, and we all know who's really funding these cases. It's the large car manufacturers in America that are really.
That's crony capitalism at its worst. We don't want crony capitalism. That's
government. That's what I was just trying to point out.
No. I was on city council, and my council, I voted against it. Banned Walmart, did not let Walmart come in and did not let stores come in. Walmart built in the next city, but they played games because all of the grocers sort of banned against them and, had the council on their, had paid off the council basically. Not paid off. Eventually Walmart came in. But that's crony capitalism. You're describing crony capitalism. You described it perfectly.
Which rules right now?
That's government and capital and government and business together, which we don't want.
No, it's business that controls government. It's those that pay you control you. It's not some kind of joint affair. They are totally run by their paymasters.
It's laws. It's a bunch. They make laws that keep us from being competitive. And because the corporations, some of them get into the politicians and they make stupid laws. But that's why we need the Constitution to protect ourselves. That's why I want federal government to be very small. That's why I'm scared to death of socialism, because it allows crony capitalism to grow even bigger. What do you think Obamacare is? Obamacare with insurance companies is a few small insurance companies controlling all of our medical now.
Well, all I can say to you, Bill, is that in Britain we have a national healthcare system, and in no shape or form is Britain a kind of socialist demoned republic. I never felt that I was in some way my liberties were being effective in any shape or form.
Well, the United States is designed to have a small federal government that protected our borders, and then the states could be those experimental areas, and they can compete among themselves. At the state level, you'd make different rules and laws, but now the federal government has gotten so big and so powerful that it breaks through the state and through the local. Government should be closest to the people, local, then state, then federal, all doing the certain things. Federal is way out of line right now. We're $3.8 trillion budget right now, and it's not going to last in that side. So, I mean, that's sort of tracking, but that's
when you
look at the banking industry, that's another example of extreme crony capitalism. It was under Bush, a lot of it too. It's under both administrations and the Democrats. That's
they're all bought by the same people, Bill.
How do you stop that? If you socialize things, it's going to be even worse. You have the bourgeoisie.
What you do, Bill, is you make sure that you take out as much money. You don't have these insane long elections that go on forever, that bore the American people to some extent. I think in Canada they had their longest election cycle ever. It was 3 months in length. Yeah. Why we've got these election cycles now in this country that go on forever. I know why it goes on.
Answer that. I think we've got something called the Second Amendment too that can't stop people from campaigning. Not Second Amendment. I mean the First Amendment.
They're not Congress. They are representing the people. They can pass laws to shorten it.
They can't. You can't pass laws to shorten campaigning. I know guys who started campaigning like 2 years out for state of California, 2 and 3 years out. They plan and they campaign.
They do it in other countries.
So what's the difference between someone planning and campaigning and going around and meeting people and talking to people and campaigning?
Well, in Britain, I only know in Britain. Now, obviously, you cannot stop that. But what you can do in Britain, there are very strict rules about what is campaigning and what is free speech. And you cannot campaign officially until the general election is called. And there's a strict time period where you can campaign.
See, in the United States, I would never go because of the First Amendment in our Constitution. You have the right of freedom. Heather, we blocked. Are you cut? Can't hear you.
That's why we left Britain and we created the Constitution. I know we left you guys. Remember?
And Sam said something too about America's evolved. If you look back at the history, America was the freest country in the world when it started.
Yeah, it was really free.
And it was a new experiment.
Well, it was free
unless you were indigenous.
If you weren't black, you weren't.
Or if you were Native American, then it was the worst country.
Or you weren't from Mexico.
That was the sign of the times.
Or the long list of people that weren't free, Bill. I really think you're.
No. What are you talking about, Mexico?
How about the indigenous people to the United States? Over 100 million. The worst genocide that any country has ever done anywhere in the world was done right here by the United States of America and its citizens.
Because of that you have the career that you have. I mean, this is part of it. I mean, this is just we can't go back in time and say we're bad people because our ancestors did that.
It's still going on.
At the time, it was the freest country in the world
for white people.
But look, it was Nick. It was the freest country in the world.
It still is the freest country in the world.
If you weren't black, it was great.
Yeah.
If you were black, you were a slave.
If you weren't Irish, no, that is a romantic image of what was, and not an accurate view of the history. I mean, women were, burned. It was only
is that not happening in the Muslim countries? Come on,
like what's going on today?
Let's talk about that.
Check out the Middle East today.
Yeah, that's still happening today. So today we are still the freest.
Do you think how many have the Muslims, ISIS, or any of those people killed 100 million people?
I don't know the number yet, but they're on their way. They're on their way.
Well, they're on their way, but they haven't done it. But we have.
I'm not going to give them the pass because they haven't done it yet. That's ridiculous. They create Sharia law. They believe in that. That's ridiculous. They shouldn't.
And you take no responsibility for our past, our history.
No, it's what the ancestors did. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
I think that's horribly irresponsible.
Okay, well, I think it's horribly irresponsible for you not to see this as a capitalist country and what we're built on. We're built on capitalism and entrepreneurship. That's the baseline of this whole country and why we are a free world today.
Not free. We have the most number of people incarcerated than any other country in the world.
I think
now,
that's
how free is that?
Well, they shouldn't be doing those things then.
No, and it's mostly California. Nick, it's your state. It's California.
It's the whole country, Bill.
No, California leads the way.
California
leads the
have
way.
the most people incarcerated than any other country in the world, and people in this country love to say, "Look how."
We also have a justice system, and there's a lot of countries that don't even go have a justice system; they just kill them. So, I mean, you have to look at that on the global.
What country is that?
Afghanistan,
Iran.
That's true.
Who's doing the most killing in Afghanistan? I'm curious, who's doing the most killing in Afghanistan?
The
they have Sharia law. They can actually whip and kill women just for looking wrong. I mean, they have
Nick. Two of the guys they released for the exchange for Bird-Doll, two of them had killed women and executed women at stadiums. Two of them. If they would have turned over we turned over people to the Afghan government, they just killed them. So the people early on, they brought him over, try to get intelligence. They brought him over to Guantanamo. Those people would have been killed.
We don't do things like that.
No, we don't. We don't. I've been there, Nick. I've been there. I've been in the front lines. We don't do that. I'm a civil military operations officer. We don't do that. We don't kill people. We don't bomb people. Didn't discriminate. We don't do that. I've been
really,
there.
Bill. I really feel that you're,
I've been there in the front lines. I've seen it. I've got the clearances.
I also know other people who have been in the front lines, Bill.
Many. Tell me one person.
My high school friends who were in Vietnam telling me about how they just shot indiscriminately from helicopters and killed a lot of people. And then they've gone crazy. Then
There's one really documented called My Lai. And it's documented, and the guy was prosecuted. He should have been.
Oh, Bill, that is so. It was well documented. There was a number of those incidents in Vietnam, and not to be disparaging. I'm not trying to romanticize the North Vietnamese because they were quite happy to do their own massacres as well. But there's but to put forward that My Lai was just a one incident is really.
No, I'm just saying. No, that's the one fully documented in Afghanistan. Has there been any incidents reported at all?
Yeah, but look at what happens to you, Bill, if you do whistle blow anything. Look what happens to you.
As I'm a West Pointer. We have an obligation to follow legal orders. That's an illegal order to kill people, kill civilians, and violate. And that's why I can't. By the way, that's why I've always said I can't support Trump because he's talked about bombing civilian population. We don't do that.
But the idea that there was, it's been well documented. There was an incident when the Northern Alliance captured over 5,000. I forgot the warlord that was involved.
Excuse me, I'll be right back.
And Obama met with one.
And it's been well documented. He placed about 1,000 people into trucks. They were transported to the desert, and it's well documented. Yep. There was American Special Services supervising this warlord, and over 500 people died in that incident. And
Nick, Jonathan, just give me that information. I'll look it up and verify it because I know that stuff inside and out. And there is a warlord I know who killed about 2,000 people. And
he was well supported by the CIA and the American because he was well financed by it.
I'm just telling you, just give me the information.
Hey, I'm going to have to leave you. That's why I'm doing
Heather,
that.
Thank you, Heather.
No, thank you, Mr. Bill. I'm all over there with you in the military, man. in the.
I'm just saying that, and the Indian Wars too. You know, you got to do a lot of research into that and figure out the left and right.
Yeah. So thank you very. Mwah.
By the way, I'm pulling up the incarceration. I was wrong. I want to clarify. California's got most people, but not percentage-wise. Alabama's number 1. California's number 5. Yeah, California does have 218,000 people incarcerated.
That's
total
a lot.
in the United States, it's got 2,227,000.
I will say this, that I think the people that are incarcerated currently for possessing drug charges, I think it's just horseshit. I think they need to be released to be, you know, really just seriously, if you're holding marijuana or holding coke, you're holding something. I think they need to, well, it's not who cares. It's just that, I mean, there's some people incarcerated that don't need to be there. They were users, maybe.
No, I meant it in a way to support you, Heather. I think a large proportion in prison
don't need to be there.
Don't really need.
No, I mean drug charges. I think are really a thing that I would be in support of having a conversation or relooking at that, because there are people that are incarcerated for an ounce or 2 ounces or a small amount of pot and cocaine. I mean, they possessed it. Maybe they were users, but that's okay. I don't think they need to be incarcerated for that. So that's one thing I would say. If we really look at that, that's one piece of the judicial system I would definitely like to look at. Okay, guys, I gotta go. Peace out.
Is a pretty good little. This is a pretty good. Texas actually has more people.
Oh, which one was Texas?
It's a really good tool. You can sort here. I like to verify. I know California is really high because they have a lot of the drug war things with them.
What's the Texas before I go? What's
Texas? The top 2 states of incarceration is first is Texas, 221,000. California is second at 218,000. I dropped a really good link in there. But then you go per rate 1,000. Let's see. Per rate 1,000 is Louisiana is number 1.
There you go.
Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Texas,
all red
Arizona,
states.
Florida,
all red states.
Arkansas,
all red states.
Yep. No, I agree.
Louisiana's not a red state. Wait a second.
Louisiana?
Oh, no, disregard what I just said. I was thinking blue and red. No. Louisiana.
We like our death penalty there.
Louisiana's a Democrat.
Yeah, you do.
Louisiana's Democrats. Mississippi's Democrats. Alabama's Democrats. Georgia and Texas, I'm not sure.
Boy, the maps I've seen say completely different. I got to look that up.
Let me pull it up right now. Let's look at these. I know Louisiana's Dem. Pretty sure.
I can't see. Can y'all see that?
Jindal, they just elected. It was Jindal, remember?
But you're talking about one governor is elected. I'm just trying to registration.
Can y'all see the side? Because I can't see anything. It's black.
It's weird. Yeah, my side's okay. They're having problems today, but I think we're going okay now.
But does it get recorded? Because I want to get
is someone not recording stuff? Because now it's recording again. Turning it off. So let me pull up the states by color. This is pretty. We want to talk about that sometimes.
I wish you could send it to me.
California does have.
Send it to me in an email because I really want to see that.
Because California has a huge population. So, but what's more important to me is the per thousand. That's the one that's more important.
Louisiana's number 1. But California is still, let's see, where's California?
No one's recording this. It's off the record.
It's recording right now.
California's 30 what?
It's not saying it's recording on my side, but
mine's saying it should be recording. It's recording on my side.
Not mine.
So California, that's
Jonathan, join me.
I can't believe the right size. It'd be interesting to see if we get this one. Let's see. You know what's going on? If you look at it, it's got that guy who's the kid who did the who's indicted, or not indicted, but I think he's up for charges right now, or is on right now too. And he's got like 250 people watching him. Talk about screwy. People are watching that screwy kid who did the pharmaceutical company.
He did what?
Scarilli.
The kid that was Scarilli. He's on right now on Blab.
Yeah, he's got a Blab.
And he's got like 250 people watching. He's got 2,500 people came through.
What did he do to the pharmaceutical companies?
He owned one. He was your perfect. You and Bill. He's your perfect CEO. He is Mr. Capitalism to perfection. He's the person that thinks he got a drug company and he bun the price up by about 300% or something. And he's
$14 to $750 for a pill.
Okay, Nick, I was wrong. Louisiana is red. I'm looking at
that. He made his money from hedge funds, and he decided, and he's on there. And I've had some discussions with him, and to say that he's in total denial would be a slight understatement.
Affluenza. He got a severe case of affluenza.
What's that? He actually is being indicted, though.
Yes, he has.
I forgot what on, some kind of laundry.
He has no concern or compassion for any of the people that he's supposed to be serving, as Big Pharma should be serving. None. His bottom line is making a profit, no matter how many people die or get hurt because of what he does. He has no compassion whatsoever.
That's not right, Nick. And that's why we have some regulation and we have government too.
No, but your fangirl, Anne, she didn't want any regulation. She said the free market could regulate itself. Wasn't that at the core of her philosophy, Bill?
There's limits to regulation, what it should be. You have to have laws, and people go to jail for breaking laws.
I don't think Annie wanted any laws for anything when it came to corporations, Bill.
That old drunk.
I think that's not the point of what she said. They said you have to have competition. By the way, I'm looking at this incarceration. Do you not have that list, Heather, at all?
It's black.
That's too bad. I'll send this to you. This is really good. This is really good. It's Wikipedia.
But don't you find, Nick, when you talk to people on the right, they got this Kaiser religious love affair with what they call free enterprise. But when you try and find any example of this unicorn mystic beast that's called free enterprise, you can never find it.
In the United States. United States.
We've
created more. Look at the Wright brothers. Look at what we've done here.
Look at the Chinese are much more capitalist than the United States, and believe me, every Chinese man and woman has a little shop or a little. They are capitalists.
Still communist country. It's still government regulated country. It is with economy and markets the way they do. I mean, they've switched over the years, but they're under Mao they're very communist.
Well, what I saw was capitalism everywhere across the land. Everywhere I saw, they were the most vigorous capitalists I've ever run into.
They have the
and look how well their country has done. And they have the second lowest incarceration rate in the world. So who are the most who's
there you go, Nick. You're going off on your love affair of China again.
Yeah, they're also a communist country. Seriously,
like a communist country is what, evil?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
government
enough money into
government controlling
lives
of people.
Everything.
Communism controls your life.
They do not.
Government doesn't control your life in communist countries?
No, not in China. I've been there. I've seen it. I've been there twice. I've seen those people. They're freer than we are.
Yes, they do. They block the internet. They block.
They're happier than we are. Hey, Nick, they're making more money.
Nick, I just pulled up a site. It's called World Prison Brief.
No, they're not.
Institution of Criminal Policy and Research, ICPR. I don't know about it, but the countries: Afghanistan's one, Bangladesh, Burma, Cambodia. China is incarceration is number 6.
Well, that's different than what I saw. So, I'll look up
that stuff.
By the way, Bill, I did find the article about the 6 candidates that this week signed off from Right Wing Watch. The 6 candidates that signed off on wanting to criminalize the
drop
community.
It in. Drop it in. So I thought I saw one too with Trump.
I don't know how to do that.
Just we're going to. Yeah. And no, it wasn't working exactly right.
Yeah.
Mine's not. Mine's working. I recycled, and I think
it's completely black for me.
So, Heather, before you go, Heather. So,
she left.
She's gone.
Oh, yeah. Bye, Heather.
Bye, hey, Heather. Everyone, check in Wednesday on the list. I need to get everybody's name. I get everybody's phone number too. I need to get Sam's.
Oh, there she comes. Good.
I need to write out the intro.
She comes. Oh,
now I can't hear you.
Yeah. Oh dear.
Y'all hear me?
I hear you fine.
Do this.
Can't you hear us?
Well, I just recycled, and now I can't hear y'all. Y'all are muted.
Oh dear.
Wait a second. I might be wrong on that numbers. No, maybe not.
Asia. Lex? Can you hear us, Heather?
1 second, because I cannot hear you if you're talking.
All right.
Oh, Laos, Cambodia, Central America, Europe, Middle East, North America. There's a lot of stuff here. Wow, this is confusing. It's a pretty interesting site, but there's a lot to it.
Yeah. Can you hear us, Heather? No, she can't hear us. We've gone silent.
Test.
World. We can hear you, Heather.
Huh,
She needs-
you're blank. Y'all are like complete silent.
Oh dear.
Kind of fun.
You need to recycle again, Heather.
This has been a very strange night on Blab.
Yeah, we're supposed to be talking about this election tomorrow.
Yes, Dr. Nick. Then, you've made it quite clear that you feel that Bernie Sanders is going to win the upcoming primary. What sort of victory do you think he's going to?
Hey, Jonathan, hold up your something that no y'all can hear me because I.
No.
Okay, thanks.
Heather, recycle.
I hear you.
We can hear you. We can't. You need to recycle.
Hey, completely reboot your computer. Honestly,
I can't hear anything.
You need to recycle.
I rebooted my whole computer system.
Cute little puppets not saying anything.
So, Dr.
George,
Nick,
little talking heads.
so how much do you think Bernie Sanders is going to win?
It's kind of adorable, actually.
Well, I'm going to go back to something that I had mentioned a couple weeks ago about something that I saw.
All right, I'm going to sign off because I'm blank. So, if y'all can hear me.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye, Nick.
There's
Bye,
the
Bill.
Bye. Bye,
Jonathan.
Heather.
Y'all can hear me. Okay, bye.
Okay, to answer your question, Jonathan,
Yep.
a few weeks back, I told you about a poll that I saw, a national poll where they were asking all Americans and across the United States who they thought were going to win in Iowa, and it was from both who they thought for both parties. Well, in the Democrats, it was Martin O'Malley 2%, Hillary 4%, Bernie 94%, and that's a poll of Americans that they thought was going to happen in Iowa. I think something like that just might happen tomorrow.
No, it's not going to happen. That's ridiculous.
Well, we'll see.
It's not probably 30% of the people always vote for somebody. They just do stupid. I mean, it's 30%. Usually, all candidates are major.
Well,
obviously, that would be the best result you could hope for. But what would be the minimum satisfactory outcome for you in percentage terms? What would you classify as a clear victory for Bernie Sanders?
Well, we've already had a clear victory. If he even gets like 40%, okay, and the rest goes, that's a huge victory for Bernie when he was down 30 points, and he's come all the way up. So I don't think Bernie can lose no matter what. He is really got this. He's made a great deal of progress. Look, for the first 6 months, nobody would even mention Bernie. It's only been 2 weeks that CNN, MSNBC, 2 weeks that they would even start to talk about him as a possible candidate.
We talked about that 2 weeks ago for the first time.
Yeah, we did.
I agree 100% with you here. I mean, on the politics side, this is goofy. This is the oligarchy, the good old boy network on both sides, knocking folks out. And now, yeah, I agree. I don't think it's going to be as huge as you say, but I think if he gets the people out to vote, he'll do okay.
I think that what I've observed is I think that is the key statement, and like most challengers, that is the key. Will the people that turned up at his rallies, that have shown enthusiasm for his message, are they really going to show up for that canvas, and are they going to really vote? I think.
And you know who I think are the most? Oh, somebody wants to come in. You know who I think are the most likely?
A little bit, Bill. Can you not see him, Bill?
Yeah, I brought him in.
The millennials.
Hello,
I think they're the most. Hey,
it's good we brought some folks in.
How you doing?
Yes.
How do you pronounce your name?
You can just call me Dr. Corey. Corey for
Dr.
short.
Corey.
Yeah. How you doing?
Good.
Good. Where are you from?
Los Angeles, California.
Well, okay. Close to Nick down there. He's in Orange County.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, Laguna Beach.
So, Corey, what do you think's going to happen?
Yeah, it's good to have other folks.
Well, living in the United States, the situation situation being that we got a lot of global issues going on, no matter where we are at this point in time. But you're talking about elections, right?
Mm-hmm.
Based on what's going on, people are things are going too fast, and there are some good candidates out there, but not good enough. However, I mean, we're kind of tired, about this whole thing. I mean, like anyone can go and just vote, but the point of the matter is that we need to rebuild our infrastructure. And when they look at some well-organized and successful businessman like Donald Trump, I mean, he's very attractive, he's fun, he's charming, he's telling people what they want to hear.
I don't know if he's charming, but I guess he is to some people.
Charming to some people, not to me. I mean,
some people he's charming. I guess he's a celebrity. It's like, why is everyone watching
celebrity? People want to, open the TV and watch someone that is worth their time, So,
well, how do you feel about Bernie?
Bernie, I don't know about this whole situation. Bernie is very convincing. He has a good quantity of people around.
A great track record.
Great track.
No dirt on him. Nobody can find any dirt on Bernie.
But who was the previous Jewish candidate that didn't succeed?
Oh, from New York. I think it's
Goldwater?
No. Goldwater's not.
The other gentleman before that.
I know who you're talking about.
During the Bush years.
Bloomberg? No?
Oh.
No. It was another one.
Well, I don't think the Jewish thing has much to do.
He's got to get. I'm Jewish myself. Everyone, all Jewish people would love to have another Jewish person on the podium. But this is not about Jewish or this and that. This is about basically what can build the global economy. Put the things in path for the whole global situation, the direction we're talking about. But, Donald Trump, is like saying, he goes to China, everything is, nice and polished. Look at our airport, this and that. He wants to compete with the wall of China. I mean, it's convincing that way for people.
You say convincing, but, it's got to be supported by fundamental facts. When over a 15-year period, you export over 6 million manufacturing jobs to China, and you basically hollow out.
It has to go to China. It has to go because you know what? We are the innovators here. We are the pioneers. We are the, America is always going to be the leaders of innovation, creation, the next Steve Jobs, this and that. Send out, the labor, the cheapest place is a capitalistic country. So, but the thing is that, we need to have the number one platform here. So things goes beyond the assembly work of the, we all come from the industrial age. We are in information age, and we got to have a whole different category of informative or information in place as far as school system is concerned. We need to build or develop innovators, and our schools are not doing that. Public schools want people to be, pretty much a good, go get a job type of person, but jobs are not here. We need innovators. We need to be creators, authors. God knows what.
I do understand your position. I wouldn't say I totally disagree with your position, but I also think it's also incorrect. When you look at Germany, when you look at Finland, when you look at Sweden, when you look at Denmark, to some extent France, when you look at South Korea, when you look to some extent to Japan, Singapore, any these countries have not accepted that their manufacturing base will just be exported to China, and somehow the ideas are just going to remain here. I really think that, to the best, not to be sarcastic, I think that's a romantic view of how things really work.
Who's going to be the next pioneers? That's the whole issue that we are having. I mean, we have China. We don't need another labor. We don't need labor like China to happen here. We need.
And China is outsourcing to India and Vietnam and Cambodia right now. They're outsourcing to them. So yeah, it's a cycle, and
they are stepping up. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But we talk about leadership in this country, just like any country, and this is not a muscle work. This is not a military work. The new generation has to be inspired to levels that surpasses all the grandpa effect. We don't want people to just do what we did. We need to do it better, more bold.
I'll be right back.
They need to be bold. They need to be courageous. They need to go and do whatever it takes to raise the level of consciousness of humanity, whether it's a product, whether it's a written material, whether it's politics, whether it's
systems of perception. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Look at what kids are doing. The new generation on our line. They're online like us, but they're chit-chatting crap.
I know, isn't it embarrassing?
And we're here, like people will call us dinosaurs these days, but we have the content, they have the platform, and there's if they say something, maybe regurgitate what the old school Deepak Chopra said, and Anthony Robbins said, and all this kind of stuff. That doesn't apply really. We cannot be a society of fearful people based on what the economy and the stock market is doing. We need to go beyond this filter. And our generation is not ready for that, but we need a leader to inspire people. Leaders are about inspiration. And just like Roosevelt did, it took people from depression to expression.
And I think Bernie can do that. He's the only one I see that can possibly do it.
Let's see what happens. I'm all for it.
Okay, fellas, look, it's time for me. Yeah. I've got to
go. We need Bill, because I need to go soon, Bill, so you need to re-come. But I'll put this to you, before you go, Nick, I'll put this to you.
Thank you, Dr. Corey.
You're welcome. And I'm a result-oriented type of person. If we want Bernie Sanders, for example, to win,
goes back.
We got to, it's not about, Bernie Sanders. It's about presence of us on the platform of Bernie Sanders.
Yes, but like he says, we, not me.
Exactly. So, we may be at the Bernie Sanders platform, but whoever wins, we gotta be, like they say, if even Clinton wins, Bernie Sanders may be in, like standing with him through the whole process. So, this is we got a cyber security, we got terrorism going on, we got all this crap. We got a global economy. I mean, look at, you talk about Germany, look at what happened to Volkswagen. It's a shame. This was like German product. I mean, come on. We cannot distrust. and now Apple stock went down, and Apple is like Steve Jobs is not alive, but the whole point.
I've got to go, folks. I've got some work to do.
I'll talk to you later.
Okay, bye, Jonathan. Me too. I got to go, Bill.
Hold a second.
I just want to say that there is not going to be any Apple product in China. Okay, there is not going to be any Steve Jobs. It's going to happen in America, just like the Alibaba that put the stocks in here, not over there.
Hey, did you give your what do you think is going to happen tomorrow in the primary, and not primary in Ohio?
You're asking me?
Yeah, we're trying to get. That's what we need to ask everyone that comes on. If everyone's up there right now, if they want to come up real fast or just drop in, what do you think? Who do you think is going to win? Bernie Sanders on the Democrat side and the Republican
I got to go,
side?
fellas.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hey, real fast for the folks out there, want to do a quick roundtable. Who do you think is going to win? We'll finish up tonight. Who do you think is going to win tomorrow?
My prayers is with the winners. So
You don't know. You're going to choose? I did.
I would say Bernie Sanders has a 50-50 chance. That's all I can say.
How about on the Republican side?
Without Donald Trump, he's not going to be complete. That's all I have to say. Because he's the. If anybody is watching TV, is because of I'm sure the rating went down when he wasn't there. So we need someone to hype up the whole platform, and he's got to be present. So that's with the Republicans.
And we're getting on. Let's see. We're getting Clinton, Bernie, Trump. Thanks for the opportunity to participate. Let's see. So that's good. Appreciate you inputting information.
Thank you.
Hey,
Thank you, Bill. Thank you for the platform. I appreciate it.
Where in LA do you live? I'm in Reno. Jonathan's in Carson City.
I'm Sherman Oaks.
Oh, Sherman Oaks, yeah. Up Highway 5, right? That's like before we get into
Yeah. And, my dreams come true coaching platform hashtag is that I help people basically in personal life, in their professional life, and in their political life, all at the same time. That dreams come true coaching encompasses at the central the platform that is entertainment.
Do you have a website?
I have a website, but LinkedIn, Twitter, and I'm new to Blabna, and also I'm on Periscope and Meerkat as well.
Wow. Okay. Well, I appreciate it.
I'm a very boutique, basically a consultant and coach.
We have a website here. It's Meet the Voter, and we're up every Sunday night. We're also going to be on podcast tonight too. It'll be up a podcast in a couple hours. The first part of this.
More power to you, Bill. Thank you.
And we'll be back next week at 6 o'clock.
Will do.
Thanks.
Okay.
Take care, everybody. Everybody back 6. Thank you for hanging in there. I think we've had some blab issues today. And it was not real smooth. Not one of our top shows. I thought we'd have a lot more participation, especially with elections tomorrow. But it'll be interesting to see what happens. And I know there's a lot of stuff happening out there. So take care.